Scotia is pleased and proud to bring you our next guest of the night. This guy raced in Europe for a number of years. He got a fill-in ride with Monster Energy Pro Circuit. Had a nice Red Bud 1 at that. Let's get him on the show. It's Darian Sinai. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Thanks for calling
how
in.
You doing?
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
now,
thanks for having me.
Do you and Kiefer, have you guys run into each other at the high des at any point? I feel like...
I don't think so. I've seen him on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I never. He was when he was racing amateur. I think he hung out with Dave Dye a little bit, right?
Yeah, Dave. I know.
I knew he was around.
Good.
I know when he was up there. Just to get to that.
I know.
I know who runs around the des. Okay?
I know you're a high des guy,
Yes.
so I know this. I just figured Sanai would have run into you at some point. Hey, man, so right now you've got a shoulder injury. As we know, you came back for Red Bud 1. Was the results in the riding at Red Bud 2, was that a little bit of shoulder induced there?
Yeah, that one was definitely tough. I mean, just based because, you had the Red Bud 1, which was, only a few days before. So that one was definitely tough. The shoulder was kind of playing a part to it. My practice and stuff wasn't too bad. Like, I felt a little bit better in practice on the Red Bud 2. Just been because of the, getting to know the track and stuff. But, by the time the moto came around, it was a little bit tougher. I think they ripped the track a little bit deeper, and it was a little bit rougher. That might have played a little part to it with the shoulder also.
Well, it was nice to see you back. You got the fill-in spot. It kind of sucks you're dealing with the shoulder, though, huh?
Yeah, definitely tough about that situation. I mean, it's like one of the rides everybody, dreams to hopefully get. And, I got it, so I'm stoked on that. But then the first race, crashing, not having a very good showing, and then crashing and hurting my shoulder has been tough. So just trying to do everything I can.
What exactly was the injury on the shoulder?
Well, I dislocated my right shoulder, which that was the third time doing it.
Oof.
So just kind of, the labrum's torn and some damage in there. So trying to do everything.
What did you hurt? See, I was going to ask this question. What did you hurt sometime between Arena Cross and Supercross? What did you do there? That
was my shoulder also. My bike.
Okay.
I was practicing Supercross and on one of the jumps, my bike kind of cut out a little bit and ended up crashing, dislocating the same shoulder.
Damn, dude. Okay, so I was thinking it was a shoulder that kept you back out, until we saw you in Salt Lake, and then now you got the same one. So, well, listen, I thought Red Bud 1 went okay for you. You got some starts. You ran up front for a while. Like you haven't raced that much nationals over here, so maybe it caught up to you a little bit, but I still thought it was a good showing.
Mm-hmm.
Were you happy with it? I'm sure you weren't over the moon with it, but were you happy with that ride?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just because of how Loretta's 1 went, I was a little bit nervous and just got a little bit hot and just didn't really put anything together, so I feel like that wasn't a good showing for how my preparation has been going all the way up to the outdoor championship. So I was just hoping that, I could get my shoulder good enough to try to race and try to show a little bit of something. And I feel like that first moto, I kind of did, I got a good start and I ran the pace for, top 3 for like 15 minutes. So that was an improvement. So I was happy with that part of it.
What do? Do you try to strengthen everything around the shoulder, and you got to brace, obviously? Is that what you got to do now? You just got to strengthen everything around it and pray it doesn't come out again?
Yeah, definitely. That's how it's been in the past, and it's actually like the last time I did it, it didn't have too many problems. It came back after about 2.5 weeks, and I really had no issues. This time around, it's been a little bit harder. I just can't get like all of the muscles and the movements to work fluidly.
Right.
So I'm still like I can't really strengthen it or anything because I can't move it properly at the moment.
God dang, that's gnarly, dude.
Dude, well, just think, Kiefer. Darian came over, went to Europe, right?
Right.
Aged out of there, came over here, got this ride. This is the shot. This is the everything, and then now your shoulder, like.
Yeah, it's always something.
It sucks, Sinai. This is not a good deal for you. Like, you're just probably like, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, you got everybody in every situation saying, go get surgery. You got plenty of years ahead of you.
Yeah.
And then, there's some people that are saying not to. But, I mean, I'm a racer. I want to race. I want to be out there. So I'm trying to do everything I can to be. I mean, obviously, if it's going to be like this Red Bud 2 where I can't, like, push and I can't really ride the bike properly, then there's no point. I just got to get surgery. But I don't know. I'm just gonna take this week and kind of figure it out and talk with Mitch and see what he wants to do.
Yeah, you got a week off, right? That'll help. You know what I mean? That'll make things better going forward. You would hope, anyways. And so what's it been like riding for Mitch Payton at Pro Circuit? What's it been like?
It's just been kind of a grind. I mean, it's when I was little, I always thought about it. Pro Circuit was one of the main teams, so it was like I want to be on that team. And, I kind of got an opportunity. My dad was like, dang, dude, you got lucky. You better make something of it when I first got it. And, we had to go and test the bike. But since being on the team and stuff, it's just been the mechanics and us, all of the teammates and stuff pretty much are, McAdoo and Mitchell and stuff, we're all riding together and pretty much like busting out motos. So it's kind of like pretty close to like race day simulation. We were riding like 4 days a week, for a few weeks there. So it was pretty tough.
Darian Sinai brought to you by Scotia Industries, 702-586-PULP. You got a question for Darian, give us a call. We want to talk a little bit of the Redbud or whatever it is, Europe or whatever. So,
so I followed your career a little bit when you went over to Europe, watched you closely. Do you ever, at some point, like, man, I miss GPs a lot? And if you do, what do you miss most about GPs versus AMA?
Yeah, definitely the GPs when I went over there was kind of like a new world, and it was cool. It was interesting, and going to all the different countries and everything was cool to see because you don't really see that here, And just going and racing over there was sweet. I like the racing part of it, but I don't like the living part of it just because it's so much different from the American kind of lifestyle. Like here, it's just way easier. Like it's not bad there. There's nothing like wrong with it,
right?
But it's just harder.
Yeah.
I
was just gonna say I sorry to interrupt you, but that's what I do on the show, anyways. By the way,
that's what he does.
But I agree. Like I love Europe. It's cool. I love the history. I love walking around and seeing the cathedrals and the cobblestone streets and all of that. But yeah, I'll take North America 10 times out of 10. I'm sorry to all my European friends. It's just so different.
I agree, but I'm talking about just the racing portion itself.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
He says the racing was good, but yeah.
Yeah, the racing portion of itself, the thing I liked about it over there was like the scheduling. Everything was like right on time. Like you knew that it wasn't going to be like a little bit delayed or any issues. You knew that like, okay, motos are at this time. You show up to the track at this time. And then just you didn't really have any like local dudes. Most of the time, maybe like one or two, but it'd be like the main dudes, and you'd have like 25 of them, and it'd be like that the entire year, and coming into the next year. So there was nobody like surprising. You kind of knew like where your spot was, like if you were feeling good that year, like where you should be. So that kind of helped to gauge a little bit more.
Right. Yeah, it's certainly different as opposed to here. Can you tell me why, Darian, when you get a hotel room over there and there's two beds, they're right next to each other? And the nightstands will be on the other sides, so that you and your friend, you roll over and your friend's face is just right there. Like what's going on with Europe in that?
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I had an incident one time with me and one of my buddies, but we actually just unhooked the beds.
Yeah.
And in the middle, because you can unhook them, we scooted them as far away from each other as we possibly could. We didn't want anybody, the maid or anything, seeing anything funny.
I called the hotel in Amsterdam on the air one show here, and I said, "Why do you guys do this?" Like it was a huge room, it was tons of room, and it was plenty of, and the nightstands were on the other side. And she said, "We don't know. We just do that." That's what she told us on the air.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, dude, two buddies don't want to just roll over and be face to face with your friend while you sleep. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with it with you.
You would be? Okay, thank you, Kiefer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey, Darian, what was the tryout process like? Like, from what I understand, guys at Monster threw your name in there, hooked you up. Mitch, Luke Reslin flew out, hung out, tried to get a spot. Enzo Lopes tried out. Mitchell Harrison tried out. How was that process for you, and what happened? Take us through it.
I guess just at the time, after Supercross, I didn't do too good, so I was kind of like, dang, I feel like my expertise is in moto, so I'm trying to get something for that. And I actually messaged you at the time too, said like, hey, if you see anything open, if you could let me know, that'd be awesome. And then you're like, Mitch, call Mitch. And I'm like, all right. And then actually that day or the next day, I went down and and talk to him.
Yeah, but what did I tell you to do? I said don't call him. Go down there and wait all day. It doesn't. You just gotta wait.
Jesus.
I didn't have to wait all day. I waited for about 30 minutes. I think when I went down, another rider was actually in his office talking to him at the time. So I was just waiting, and then once they were done, he was on the grinder, and I went and talked to him. And he didn't stop grinding. He just kept grinding.
Yep.
And so I was kind of like screaming a little bit, and then he would stop for a second and then say something back to me. I'd be like, yeah, I want to talk to you about this. And he'd say, okay, what do you want to say? And then, I'd tell him blah, blah, blah. And then he'd be like, he'd let me know his concerns, which, I mean, he knows the sport good. Like I haven't talked to him a whole lot in my career. Like I've tried to, but I haven't like spoke with him well. But I mean, he knows what he's talking about, So it's actually like it's tough to have a normal conversation with him, but at the same time, he knows like his stuff, so it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And from that point, I just told him like, I want this and I'm ready for it. And he said, okay, thanks. And then I left. And then the next day, he said, if you want to go ride the bike, show up at Glen Helen at 3 p.m. or whatever, and be ready to go.
Ah, fuck, dude.
Right.
Just him telling me that, I'm getting like nervous feeling in my stomach because I've been there with you, and exactly what Darian said is exactly what he does. He doesn't stop grinding.
Yeah.
He doesn't really look like he's interested in what you got to say.
He is with me.
But like I'm just saying,
we're pretty good.
Right.
But I get it.
Right.
I get it. Yeah.
And I think that's just how he works. Like this is what he's seen it all.
Yep.
How many people he's talked to. Nothing you're going to tell him he hasn't heard.
Right.
So it's just like this is what he's built like. And then now you have to go to Glen Helen. Now you're sleeping. You got to go to bed. You're like, fuck, I got to be there at 3 o'clock. I got to ride my balls off.
Yeah.
It's just gnarly. That's gnarly.
Yeah. It was a pretty cool experience. I mean, and that was my first time getting to ride the bike, so we rode the test bike, which I think was Tedesco's. And it was awesome. Like just getting on the bike, I went out there first lap and went on the track, and it was sick. So
yeah, and of course,
definitely a cool feeling.
GH at 3 o'clock, super smooth, right?
Yeah, it was on a Thursday too, so it was after everybody had pretty much rode there.
Yeah.
It might have been like 2 o'clock, but
did you
and the other rider, he was riding before me, so I just rode the bike after him.
Who was it?
That was Walsh.
Oh, okay, the New Zealand kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Australian, I don't know, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, he's from New Zealand.
Okay.
We actually spent a little bit of time together in Lommel too, so we're buddies. And I was watching him, and he was riding well, like he was passing some dudes that are on factory teams and stuff in his practice. So I'm like, oh dang, I gotta go. And at this time, nobody knew if they're taking one guy, or if they're taking two guys, or what the deal is.
I guess Lopes. I like Lopes. Good dude. He quit. He got blisters and pulled in early.
Yeah, we actually all got blisters. I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Tedesco, he has on a little bit different grips, like with no waffle or anything on it. And I think just from riding that bike and just trying to go as fast as you can, pretty much right away. Like Walsh, he showed me a picture of his hands. I had like really bad hands. And then so did Lopes, and I think he had to pull out a few laps early or something because of it.
So is this something that they plan out, like, hey, you got to do an X amount of time?
Well, I don't know about that, but if you pull out with blisters before a 30, you ain't getting the ride.
No, that's what I'm asking. Oh. Did they say? Did you show up and say, hey, we got to do you're gonna do a 30-minute moto? That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was go get a little feel on the bike, and then boom, let's go do a moto. And then I didn't know. In my head, I thought I had another moto to do.
Oh, yeah?
So they were loading the bike up afterwards, and I was like, all right, that's kind of nice. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, we're not doing another one? Like, I already kind of had that plan because I thought he was going to, want to see everything.
Did they bring you to another one, or was that one tryout and that was it, one time?
I'm trying to think, because it was a little bit, close to 2 months now, I feel like.
Yeah.
But it was that, and then didn't hear anything for like a week, and then I heard that I was probably going to get it, one of the spots. And then they had me come out to Paula, and then I had like a helmet and stuff. So I thought,
oh, you were like, I'm in.
Yeah. But then at the same time, it's like, maybe I'm not. So I got to still try to prove myself every day.
Oh, so like nobody actually told you had the spot. They were just kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You were riding your own Kawasaki. Obviously, you had some stuff on your bike too. So, what was the biggest difference for you when you got on this PC bike?
The biggest difference I felt right away was obviously, the power, just all around really fast and smooth and usable. And then the chassis felt super good. Like I remember going down, like it was, at 3 o'clock at Glen Helen, I was going down and over those bumps, and the bike was just handling a little bit differently than I've been used to, but in like a good way.
Uh-huh.
The suspension, I think, was probably like 10 to 15 pounds too stiff for me, because it was for Tedesco, which he's like 15 pounds heavier than I am. But it still was reacting really well. So I was like, dang, this is pretty sick.
Did you got a warm up, right, to say, hey, the suspension, can we do this with the suspension or anything on bars and all that? Like you got a warm up, right?
Yeah, right when I got there, the other guy was done riding, and then I just sat on the bike and asked to adjust the bars and stuff. And then I went out, did a little warm up, and then came back, and then I thought, okay, maybe I'll go do another little warm up just to kind of get my speed up.
Yep.
I went out there, and then Villapoto actually was right behind me. And he was like trying to pass me, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to let him pass me. So I started pinning it, and then came back, and I actually saw Mitch kind of giggle a little bit. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Oh, okay. Nice. Darian Sinai on the Pulp MX Show, presented by motorsport.com and Fly Racing, and brought to you by Scotia Industries. Pulp 2020 is the code to save with those guys at Scotia. Get any number of electronic accessories from those guys. So, Darian, you came out for Salt Lake. What'd you think? How'd you think you did? We saw you in the Kicker Arena Cross Series for a little bit there. What'd you think of the Salt Lake stuff for you? I thought I saw some good and some not so good for you, but what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first year that I'm doing Supercross. So coming from GPs, I was over there for 4 years just doing outdoors. So I came back over here and, I had a few hiccups, a little bit of injuries and stuff, and didn't get a whole lot of time training on Supercross.
Yep.
But I still was able to go ride with the Cowie guys and stuff a few times, to the test tracks during the week. And I was working with Tedesco a little bit in Supercross, so I was getting more used to it. And Salt Lake was cool. I was happy to be able to go there because at first I didn't know if I was going to be able to get in since I didn't have any points. And then so I was able to go to that, and it was cool. I liked it for the fact that, I only have a few days to learn, and then I can go back and try to test it out. And so I felt like there was little improvements. I mean, I obviously was way off the pace or way off where I want to be, but it was nice to see like, okay, I need to improve this. And then the next race, which was only a few days away, I could go and do it.
Right. Yeah, good starts. God, you pulled some starts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Salt Lake, I started doing first gear starts later. I don't know why I didn't try it earlier on.
Right.
But I until I got the whole shot, that was like my first day doing the first gear starts, and then I was getting pretty good ones.
Yeah, then you were dialed from there.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh?
I'm like 145, depending on the day. So yeah, I'm pretty light. I wouldn't say I'm the lightest. Like Master Pool and stuff, he's lighter, but I'm probably like one of the top 5 in the lightest in the class.
Hey, what's it like with Harrison? Obviously, you got the other fill-in slot, and Ramit, our buddy Ramit, doing pretty well. How are those guys? You get along with them good? Do you have any past history with them?
With McAdoo and Harrison?
Yeah.
Yeah, McAdoo and me, we used to train together and pretty much live like 20 feet away from each other at Colemex.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yep.
So we're pretty good buddies. And then Mitchell, we were both on Team Green Kawasaki, so my dad and his dad would always talk and stuff.
Oh,
so
okay.
We're buddies. Me and Mitchell actually stayed in an Airbnb together for Red Bud this last weekend. We carpooled when we lived 5 minutes from each other here in California.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. He rode pretty well. He did a good job. So.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been riding pretty good, and training and stuff, and we're all pretty close and battling and stuff. So it's just who can put it together on the weekend.
So for you, fill-in ride. It sounds like you may not. If the shoulder doesn't work, you may have to get it fixed, or you get it fixed in the off season. But pretty much, whether it's in the upcoming weeks, Darian, or after the year, you got to get this thing done. You're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, if I can. Obviously, I want to because I got a great opportunity right now.
Yep.
If I can, then I would, get it fixed afterwards, and then, see where I'm at. And then if I can't, and then I got to get it fixed, and then hopefully, I can find something for Supercross.
Yep.
You got a doctor lined up and everything out here to do all that?
Yeah, I did my knee with Greenbaum.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, so I'll probably go with him again.
I just was thinking about Dino when he had his shoulder done. There's a guy in Newport that's really good.
Oh yeah.
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 So.
Yeah, it's a man. You wish you were 100% for sure for something like this,
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely.
it is what it is, and you're making a name, trying to make your name, and I'm sure people will remember you. Because you kind of feel like I feel like American fans, they don't follow the GPs, man.
What?
I don't feel like the most American fans know anything that's going on over there.
Really?
Sorry. Yeah.
Wow.
Darian, do you agree?
Yeah, I feel like once Villapoto went over there, some people started kind of getting a little bit of an eye to it, and then you had, Covington and stuff.
Yep.
So when I was over there, but I feel like it's good and bad because it's like if you do well, people in America hear about it, but if you do bad, nobody really knows, nobody really cares.
Right.
It's kind of like,
Yep.
But, yeah, I think definitely more people are paying attention to it now, but not near as many.
No.
Like the Europeans paying attention to AMA is way higher.
Where are we at with your Epstein-Barr? How are we doing?
Yeah, Epstein-Barr, that one was tough. I got that at the end of 2018, before the 2019 season, and I kind of carried it the whole 2019 season. So it was definitely a struggle. But I've been feeling better now. I mean, sometimes it's like when I get like nervous or hot or something, like it might be kind of like a mental thing. I feel like it flares up a little bit at times, but I feel good. Like my body recovers and stuff after riding and training and cycling and everything.
Always wondered about that because a lot of people think it's bullshit, and it's not. Like that's a real thing.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
And
yeah, I actually was listening to a Pulp show when I was in Europe, and I had Epstein-Barr, and then you guys were talking about it because a lot of people were getting it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, maybe I'll call in and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. And I was kind of a skeptic too, but then Red Dog got it. And I mean, he was in shape, and he was doing well, and he would come in after a 7-lap heat race, and he looked like he was about to pass out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there was something going on with him. And it wasn't like the guy was eating McDonald's every day for, he was worked. Yeah, it was real. It was real. So
yeah, it's tough because it's like, I mean, I think some cases are mild and some are like more gnarly, but mine was like at first I even thought like, oh, this ain't that big of a deal. I'll take a few weeks off and get going. And I just never really could. It's mainly like once you like can't really like overcome it, and then you mentally like you get kind of put down.
Yeah.
It's hard to like dig yourself out of that hole. But the funny thing is you can't actually get Epstein-Barr from training. So like they say that it's all from training, people getting it, but you actually can't get the virus from training. But it can flare up.
Oh, it
so, like,
flares up from the training. Right.
Yeah. Most people will get it when they're like a little kid.
Oh,
like
okay.
before the age of 6.
I think the EBV virus lays dormant inside your system.
Okay.
And that's what he's saying. So he flares it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if like your immune system and stuff gets too low, it can flare up. That's why you see it more in athletes. But also just because like if you have it and you're just doing a normal office job, you're not gonna be able to tell that much. You're gonna be a little bit tired and sleepy for, a few weeks or a couple months. You're not gonna know there's a huge difference in your body. But when you're pushing your body to 100% every single time or every day, you're like, dang. When your body's 10% off, you can really tell,
Yeah, for sure. Well, Darian, thanks for calling in. Good luck with everything, man. I'm bummed. I'm happy you got the shot. You're a good dude. I talked to you years ago, and talked to you here and there. And I'm bummed that the shoulder's holding you back a little bit. But yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess got to do what I got to do. But yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks very much for calling and appreciate it. We'll see you at Millville, and good luck, man.
Good luck, man. Keep getting those starts.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, man. That's Darian Sinai. Scotia brought to you by Scotia.com. Let's go to commercial break. We have an Olympian gold medalist.